Hello everyone, I hope that you're all good and welcome back to another YouTube video. This video will be going out December 1st, and so I thought a good idea for a video would be how to use December so that you can go into 2024 as your best self. The reason I decided to do this video is because I think there's always a temptation to leave our goals until the new year whenever we reach December, and actually December's a whole month, that's a whole 12th of a year that we have left in order to make some substantial steps towards being who we want to be. I feel like my whole life is kind of dedicated to the glow up, but I especially am going to use the month of December to really cement some habits that I want to go into the new year with. If you're interested in learning more about habits and the habits that I implement in my own life, I would watch my previous video where I talk all about that. So the first thing we're going to do in December in order to become our best selves for 2024 is we are going to do a life audit, or an MOT, an MOT for me. Good. So I can't remember exactly when I did this, when I started. It was definitely at some point this year. But in my notes app, I basically created a note, and it's called Project Me. And I basically did exactly that. So I went through every part of my physical being, every part of my mental being, is that what you call it? Anyway, every part of my life. And you can see, so I talk about everything. So I'll just talk you through the categories. So I started with body, and whenever I talk about a life audit, I'm not saying that you have to completely change your body and how you look. I'm absolutely not saying that. I think that everyone has characteristics that are beautiful and that should be celebrated. And this is just about making the most of what you have. So the categories that I decided to dissect was 1, body, 2, face, 3, style, 4 is hobbies, 5 is relationships, 6 is career, 7 is finances, 8 is mind, and 9 is home. The fact that that's finished on 9 makes me itchy, but there we go. So what I did essentially was I looked at every area. So if we're talking about face, I would say, okay, what's on my face? My skin. How can I improve my skin? Do I want to start getting facials? Do I want to get my eyebrows threaded? What do I want to do in order to improve this area? And when it comes to body, look at your workouts. Are you even working out? What do you want to do? Do you want to create a routine? Do you want to get, for example, laser hair removal? Do you want to get a tattoo lasered like I did on my arm here? That's exactly what I did. So I just listed everything about myself that I wanted to work on. And so the things on the list that aren't to do with the physical. So for example, finances. What do I want to do with my finances? Do I want to build a safety net? Do I want to start investing? Do I want to pay for a holiday? List every possible thing that will come to your head and pop it in your notes, in a notepad if you prefer, on a slideshow, however visually feels best for you. And then the second thing to do in December would be to declutter everything. As you can see from my background, I don't really accumulate much clutter. I'm very, very minimalist. But what I will be doing, for example, is I'll be going through my laptop, whenever you get documents that just kind of pile up, or screenshots in your phone, now is the time to just wipe the slate clean. And I really think this is important because what do they say? Tidy home, tidy mind. Tidy phone, tidy mind. I made that up, but the next thing I want you to do is to set your goals for the next year. I want you to picture yourself a year from now. Where are you going to be living? Where do you want to be living? Do you want to be working a new job? Do you want to start a side hustle? In an ideal world, where would you like to be in a year's time? And then what I want you to do from there, I want you to list what your goals are, and I want you to list every single month in the year and put 5 bullet points underneath each month. And then what I want you to do is I want you to work backwards from your big yearly goals and break these down into 5 goals for each month that will work towards your bigger goal. So an example could be, I don't know, I want to pay off my debt of 1,200. I'm really bad at maths, so that's literally the only amount I can do in my head. So what would be a monthly goal in order to pay off that debt over the year? It would be to pay back £120 a month. Quick maths. If you find that it's less than 5 bullet points or more than 5 bullet points, that's okay. But I think 5 bullet points feels like a manageable amount for each month. And then what you can do from there, whenever you have your monthly goals, is you can break them down into habits that you can implement daily. And on the subject of habits, start your habits now. Start them in December. So the next thing I would love for you to do would be to review the past year. So if you write down what went well, 5 bullet points for each again. If you want to do more or less, that's totally fine. What went well, what didn't go so well, what you're grateful for, and what did you learn? And I think it's really key here with the section where it says, what did you learn, to consider this whenever you consider your habits. And the reason for this is so that we don't go into the new year making the same mistakes that we did this year. Next is all about visualization. And what I want you to do is create an alter ego for yourself in the same way that Beyonce has Sasha Fierce. And I want you to picture yourself as the best version of yourself, your most ideal version of yourself. I want you to give them a name. I want you to picture what they're wearing, where are they living, who are they hanging around with. And anytime you're doubting yourself or you're doubting your journey or your ability to achieve your goals, I want you to picture yourself as this version. And then off the back of this, a great visualization technique, which lots of people mention in these kinds of videos, but it works, is to create a vision board. So now that you've pictured your ideal self, you've written down your goals, you've had a whole life audit, I would pick pictures. Pinterest is a brilliant place to do this. Pick pictures that represent your ideal self, your ideal life, and place them in a vision board however you like. It can be a physical one where you literally cut and stick things out of magazines if you're old school. I'm more of a digital babe. And what I do is I set it as my desktop background. You know what's so weird is the other day I had a dream about an ex-boyfriend, which is very rare because I don't have many and they were a long time ago. But I had a dream that he left his phone by the side and his background was a vision board. And on the vision board was all of the things that I told him to improve about his life. So if anyone can psychoanalyze that, please feel free. Anyway, moving swiftly on the next thing to do would be to create a plan. And the plan, of course, because the whole topic of this video is about starting early, is to start your plan in December. So how many days are there in December? Probably should know this. So there's 31. So what I want you to do is to draw down 31 squares. And of course, if you celebrate Christmas during December, there's going to be times where you probably can't stick to your plan, you're socializing, you're enjoying yourself, and that is okay. But what I want you to do is plan for those days. So me, for example, I know that probably Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, I am going to be with my family, eating a lot of food and not having a care in the world. Whilst I don't plan to go overboard on these days, I would also like just the freedom to kind of enjoy myself. And so what I am going to do on my squares is I'm just going to black out those squares where I know that I'm not necessarily going to be sticking to a plan. And that's what I would suggest doing for yourself. And then next to all your squares, I would write out the daily habits that you're going to do every single day during the month of December, apart from the squares that are blocked out. And I want you to make these as realistic for you and your goals as possible. So what I mean by that is if you work an office job and you're sat down for large periods of the day, realistically hitting 10,000 steps a day just isn't going to happen. So a more realistic habit would be 6,000 steps, 7,000 steps. Another example could be reading 10 pages of a book a day. And that leads me on to my next point, which is for the month of December, read at least one self-development book. And if you really struggle with reading, get an audiobook. But the idea is that you're learning something new for the month of December so that you can take it into your new year. And then my last piece of advice for the month of December would be, if you are thinking about getting support with your goals or you're getting a coach, plugging myself here, I would start earlier. One, because the prices could go up in January because it's a very busy time. But two, because as I said, we want to go into the new year feeling and looking and being our best. You might have already seen on my Instagram, but my prices for my coaching are going to increase in the new year as well. So I would advise, if you do want to work with me, to apply before then. And you can do so through the link in my bio. Anyway, I hope that you found that video useful. Comment down below if you want me to cover any other topics. Make sure that you subscribe and have a lovely, lovely day.